VisionOS came out 6 days ago to build for Apple's Vision Pro. It comes out next year, early in 2024, that's 6 months from now. Whether you're brand new and don't know where to start, or a developer looking to explore, you've reached the right place. This is your home for VisionOS. Today, let's start building with Reality Composer Pro. So let's learn together and let's get spatial. When VisionOS released last week, I got you set up in this video. I told you to explore this page on your own and continue learning. Some people reached out and said, could I create from scratch these same tutorials? So that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to start with this. In order to build from this, we're going to need the same assets. On the developer docs, you can see here, you can actually download this full diorama project, but it's already built, everything's there. That's no good for learning. Let's actually build it up. So what I'm going to do is let's download this. Here I will save it and I can go ahead and open up this Xcode project. This will pop up. Go ahead and click Trust and Open. Here's an issue. If you open this up in regular Xcode, here you will see the X next to Reality Kit content. You want to open this up in Xcode beta. Now we're going to do Command Space Xcode, and you can see I have beta right here. This is the one that we downloaded last week. So from Xcode beta, I can select open an existing project, and here I'm going to open up this project here. And now we need to open up Reality Composer Pro. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to drop down my packages. I'm going to click on package here, and I'm going to select open in Reality Composer Pro. Reality Composer Pro opens, and you can see all the assets are down here, but we only need certain assets. You can see in the video, we need these certain assets. So I'm going to find these assets. I'm going to right click and I'm going to do show in Finder. And now we just need to copy the assets that we actually need. On my desktop, I'm just going to make a new folder, call it assets. Inside of assets, let's just copy everything over that we need. So we definitely need bird call 1 and 2. We need birds. We need Catalina. We also need diorama base. We also need forest sounds, we need pins, and we need ocean sounds, and we need Yosemite. You can see there's other things here included in the complete package, but we're building from scratch. Simply going to Command C or right click, copy. Down here my assets, I'm going to go ahead and paste. So these now match up with our video starting from scratch. So now that we have our assets to start from scratch, let's go ahead and make our own Xcode project. I'm going to close the previous project and I'm going to just go to new project. Make sure you select VisionOS and app. I'm going to press next and we're going to call this diorama from scratch. And we're going to leave these the same and I'm going to press next and I will save it. And now let's go ahead and get to our Reality Composer Pro. So I'm going to drop down Reality Kit, click on package and open. Let's actually go through the documentation. This is a link you can actually click in the description. You can see there's an overview, launch Reality Composer Pro, which I showed you how to do already. Here's where I want to start. Orient yourself in Reality Composer Pro. On the left side is the hierarchy window. Inside of here, all of your different components and assets that you add in your scene will be here. In the middle, you can see is the 3D viewer. On the right side, you have the inspector. And if you click on an object, you can see the properties or modify them. You can also click to add components to different entities. In the bottom, you have the project browser. You can see all files. You can organize your project here. You'll see your assets in the middle. You have a shader graph, audio mixer, and statistics. Make sure you read through the documentation here for more details. Next, add assets to your project. You see we have the assets here in our folder. And you can do it in 2 ways. In the project browser, you can click on this icon and then find the location and then import them. Or because I know I have my assets here for diorama, I'm going to select all of these and then I'm just going to drag them in. Now with the assets in our project, let's get organized. I want to make a couple folders. I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4. So this folder I'm going to call 3D Assets. This folder, let's call it Sounds. And to rename, you simply click, and then you click again, and you can see you can type. The other one I'm going to do Material, and lastly, Scenes. So you can see this is how I can organize my project. To see all of your files, you got to go to All Files, but if I come here, you will see your folders. So let's organize. I'm going to put my bird, Catalina, diorama, my location pin, also Yosemite inside of my 3D assets. For my sounds, I'm going to select bird 1, bird 2, forest, and ocean, and I'm going to put these inside of my sounds. And then this is a scene. I'm going to put that scene inside of here. I really don't need these spears, so I'm just going to delete that. And this is a material. I'm just going to put it inside of here, even though I don't need it. So now you can see my project. When I click on this, is organized. If I wanted to see all my files, I can come up here. Or if I wanted to go individually, I can click into each one of these. So let's click on scenes and double click back on our scene. So this is an issue. I'm just going to delete it. I can delete that as well. And I will delete it from down here. All right, let's add in our assets. I'm going to select the Catalina Island and the diorama. I'm going to go ahead and drag those both in. And I want to zoom, so I'm going to zoom to the base. That zooms me out. Remember, I can click left to kind of move around it. And what you can notice first is this base actually doesn't have a material on it. So to add a material, here's a new area where you have components that are built into Reality Composer Pro. On the right side at the very top right here, display the content library. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to change it to a gallery view. You can see you have the basic shapes. You have some other assets that Apple gives you. I want to click on materials. And for this diorama, I want to have a concrete material. So here you can see I've already downloaded. Let's say I did not have that. I wanted a metal material. I would have to click on this, download it, and then I would be able to use it. I do want the concrete though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it into my hierarchy. And when I do that, now I can click on my diorama base, and here under binding, I'm going to change it here to smooth concrete. And now you can see I got smooth concrete for our diorama. Whenever you drag in something directly into the hierarchy, it's going to go here. If I want to stay organized, I can drag this into here. And what you will notice is there's a little issue that happens. When you move things within your project browser, they get unlinked. So this is no longer accurate. It's not here. I'm just going to simply delete this. And I did that to just show you. Now if I come into my materials folder and I drag that in, there's no issues. You can see there's no warning sign. And here I would need to reassign that now to smooth concrete. And there we go. All right, so let's add in some pins to our diorama. So I'm gonna go back to the 3D assets, and I'm simply gonna drag one in. And you can see I can use the arrows to position it. So let's put one over here at 2 harbors. And actually, let's rename that 2 harbors. And you're gonna do underscores. And then let's duplicate it. So I can right click and select duplicate, or I can do Command D. I'll just duplicate it, come over here, and somewhere over here, bring it up a little bit, and that will be Parsons Landing. And I'll make one more. And this one will be Ribbon Beach. I believe I got those in the right areas. There we go. Next, let's make some clouds. And we're gonna make clouds in a new scene. Anytime you make a new scene, you wanna save this scene. If you don't, I've noticed a current bug that it will not save your current progress. It doesn't automatically save. So I'm gonna show you that, and I'm gonna have to rebuild this scene. So let's go ahead and do Command N, or you can come up here to File, New Scene, and I'm going to put it inside of Scenes, and I'm going to call it Cloud Chunk. So I'm going to make one small part of a cloud, and then I'm going to make another scene called Cloud A, and it's going to be 3 of these cloud chunks. Now, remember I told you when you don't save, right now it's fine, but when I save this, you're going to see what happens. To make a cloud, we're going to use particle emitters. To add a particle emitter on the left side here, I'm going to click on plus. I'm going to select particle emitter. And on the right side in our inspector, you can see you have options for a particle emitter. You have emitter, you have particles. You can optimize any of these to however you want. We also have these here, which are presets for us. We have fireworks, impact, magic, rain, snow, and sparks. We want to make a cloud so it looks closest to impact. And to preview it, at the very top, you can see this plus. So here's our current particle emitter. I know it doesn't look exactly like clouds, but it will once we go into our scene. So to start, over here for idle duration, I'm going to change that from 3 to 0. For emitter shape, instead of a cylinder, let's make it a sphere. For birth location, let's change this to volume. And then let's make it is local. When we zoom out, you can see it looks more like a cloud. Now let's check our particles here. Birth rate, we have 2,000 particles at a time, and that's pretty high, especially for we're talking about app efficiency when we're looking at our statistics down here. So let's change that. Let's try 500. So that's less. Let's try 350. I'm okay with that. The other thing I want to do, I want to make it more flat, like squished. So for these, let's make this 0.8 and make this 0.8. So we have our cloud, and we can actually rotate using the ring or the transform properties over here. So for example, I can rotate it that way, and when I want it to go green, I can rotate it this way. If I wanted to scale it, and you only can do one axis at a time, so if I wanted to scale it, I can pull it in, or I can make it bigger. I'm going to undo all these, so we're back to where we are. Now, this is one piece of a cloud. I want to build a cloud that's made of 3 pieces, so that's what we call this cloud chunk. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, doing Command S, and I'm going to go back and Command N, and let's make another scene. I'm going to call it Cloud A. And from Cloud A, it's just going to be 3 cloud chunks. So I'm going to come over here to our scenes. I have my cloud chunk. I'm going to drag 1 in, 2 in, and 3. I'm going to select all these, and I want to group them. So I'm going to do Command G. I could also do this, right click and select group. Let's rename this cloud. And when objects are grouped on the right side in our inspector, we can press play. Now it all looks like there's one cloud. I simply have to move these. That's the second one, and I'm going to put this one up and back maybe like that. Let's see. That's a different looking cloud, sure. Let's rotate this last one. So I'm going to double click on it, and I want to rotate it up. Now let's bring it forward and here. So now you can see this looks more like a cloud, and that's my cloud A. Now I can do the exact same thing to kind of create different variations of clouds. I'm going to go ahead and save Cloud A, and I can create a new scene down here, or I can simply duplicate my Cloud A. So just make sure that we save it, and then I'm going to right click on Cloud A. I'm going to do duplicate, and I'm going to click down here and change this to Cloud B and open up that. And as you can see, all of our scenes are open, and you can have a bunch of scenes kind of open. So Cloud B, you got this set up. I'm going to press play. Now again, I wanted to change it up, so For this cloud too, I'm going to put this back to 0. And let's actually scale this down. So let's scale it in some. And maybe I'll put this one here on the right. And I'll put cloud chunk 1 up at the top. And maybe I will rotate this cloud that way. So here's a different variation of a cloud that we have. And I can save cloud B. I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to duplicate cloud B, come down here, change this to cloud C. Then I will open up cloud C, drop this down, press on play, and modify. So this cloud, let's add a couple more cloud chunks to it. So I'm going to add another cloud chunk, make sure I place it inside of here. And now I have this, I'm going to press play. And something like that. And maybe down a little bit. There you go. And maybe we rotate it. So now we have this extra cloud, and this is cloud C. So we got cloud A, cloud B, and cloud C ready for our scene. Based off this one cloud chunk, it's a particle emitter that we made. So let's come on back here to our scene. And this is what I'm telling you. Remember, we built out our diorama already, but we made new scenes and we didn't save our diorama. There's currently a bug in Reality Composer Pro where if you create new scenes and you save them, without saving whatever other scenes you have, it reverts back to what the start was. And remember, the start was this spear and this plane. So that's why I'm telling you, every time you make a new scene, make sure you save the current scene. I'm sure they'll fix this in the future, but now it is a bug because there is no auto saving. So I'm going to delete these and we're going to have to redo it. So good practice. Come on back over here to 3D. I'm going to do Catalina Island diorama. I'm going to drag it in. All right, so we don't lose any of our stuff. I'm just going to do file save. And now let's add in some clouds. We have clouds. They're simply our scenes. We have cloud A, B, and C. I'm going to select all 3 of them and drag them in. So I'm also going to group these. I'm going to do Command G. And this will be clouds. I'll play my clouds so I can see where they're at. And we'll select them. Let's just bring them up. So there they are. They're all together. Let's just place them separately. Let's move. And you can click and drag objects. You can see where you want them as well. So I'm just going to put this one over here. Let's select B. And maybe I want it kind of here. And then let's select C. And I'll click and drag it over here. And those are pretty big. Let's scale them down. So remember, on the right side in the inspector you can scale them. So I'm gonna make, let's say 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. So that gives me a little variation. So this one will be smaller. And maybe my B cloud will be, let's make it 0.75. And feel free to play with these however you want to make it. So let's talk about audio. Spatial audio has both position and direction. We're going to have birds in our scene. So a bird has a position, and from its beak, it has a direction that you should hear the audio from. Ambient audio only has a direction. So for example, if you wanted to have wind coming from the east or west, it only has a direction. It does not have a position. No matter how far you go to that direction, you're always going to hear the wind coming from that direction. Now last but not least, channel does not have position or direction. So I want to create a bird with spatial audio, and then we will add it here. So I'm going to go ahead and do Command N to make a new scene. I'm going to place it in our scene, and I'm going to call it bird. Inside of our scene here, I'm going to go to 3D assets. I'm going to go ahead and drag in our bird. and double click on it, and let's zoom in. So we want to add spatial audio to be at this position and in that direction, so it makes sense. So I'm going to click on plus, audio, spatial. Now I'm going to drag up that to the front, right where it should be. And you can see on the right side, under resource, it does not have anything linked yet. We need to add in what type of file we want. So under sounds, we have 2 bird calls. I can simply drag this in. It sounds like this. And by simply dragging it into the hierarchy, if we click on spatial audio, you can see it finds bird call 1. Well, what if I have drag in bird call 2? Now, under spatial audio, under resource, I can select either one of these. But what if I wanted it to randomly play between 1 and 2? That's where an audio group comes in. So what you need to do is click on plus, audio, audio file group, and we're going to drag these 2 into our audio file group. And you will see if I click on that, let's rename it bird sounds. And you can see on the right side, it has the 2 files in it. I can also from here click on plus and add other sounds if I wanted to this, and it will randomly select one of these 2. So when I click on spatial audio, now you can see bird sounds, which is our audio group, will play, which means it will select a random one of these sounds. You can press play here to test it. So that's our bird. Now let's go ahead and save this. And we can notice the little dot, so we know it's not saved. Command S, and I'm going to come back over here to our scene. Now I want to add in some birds. I'm going to go ahead and close out my clouds. So let's go ahead and in scenes, we have bird USDA. Now don't get confused between the bird USDA and the asset here, bird USDZ. This is the asset that we imported. Under scenes, they become USDAs. Look at cloud A, cloud B, cloud C, cloud chunk. All of these are USDAs. These simple assets are USDZs. So make sure we're going to grab in this bird USDA and drag it here. Maybe I want him there, and I'm going to double click to zoom in. Yeah, that's good. And let's duplicate a couple of these and move them around. I'll do that. I'll select all of these and duplicate, and let's duplicate it one more time. So we got a flock of birds flying. There we go. And again, we want to stay organized, so I'm going to group these, Command G, and I'm going to call this birds. Now with birds, we can press play. You can see they actually fly, and then all of them are playing the different bird sounds. So we've come a long way. We can scroll out, but now you can see this is what we finished, and I added a couple clouds. Now that you learned the skills to build Catalina Island, I want you to build out this. This is Yosemite, and it's very similar. You're gonna have 3 pins. So this is El Capitan, this is Cathedral Rocks, and this is Merced River. But you can see an extra bonus. I want you to add rain to the clouds. So go be creative. AR is going to change the world. Everyone can learn, so let's create a diverse group of Immersioneers. Learn more about VisionOS or Lightship by subscribing, liking, and sharing today.